This audiobook reveals the long-hidden force behind Banned Metaphysics, the ancient science of how your consciousness shapes reality itself. These teachings were concealed for centuries because they awaken a power within you that the world was never meant to control. As you listen, you'll feel the truth rising in you. Nothing in your life is fixed, and everything bends to the frequency you command. Banned Metaphysics. Introduction. Before memory had a name, when the world was still shaped by the breath of the unseen, there existed a stream of wisdom known only to those who could hear the silence between thoughts. The ancient ones understood what the modern world has buried beneath noise and distraction, that reality bends not to circumstance, but to the silent command of consciousness. What survives of their teachings comes to you now like an echo from another age, revealing that your thoughts are not fleeting sparks, but the very blueprint from which existence is drawn. The law of attraction, spoken of openly today, was never meant to be the destination, only the first doorway. Beyond it lies a vast and forbidden landscape, the hidden mechanics of creation itself. And just as a true master must unlearn everything taught by a world of limits, you too must step beyond the illusions that have dimmed your inner sight. Within these chapters rest teachings long guarded, concealed, and at times banned, not because they threaten the world, but because they awaken you. Reality does not yield to force. It answers to frequency. This is why the great initiates taught with gestures instead of words, and why the deepest truths return to you as if remembered, not learned. Your consciousness is not a spectator of life. It is the architect. Every thought you release trembles across the unseen planes. Every intention reshapes the lattice of possibility, and every focused moment of awareness calls new worlds into form. This is not imagination. It is the true physics of the soul, obscured only by ages of material blindness. To understand what follows, you must enter stillness, an inner chamber untouched by time. For the mysteries you seek do not reside in dusty manuscripts or hidden temples, but in the luminous depths of your own awareness. In that sacred quiet, creation reveals its workings, and the power to shape reality moves through you as effortlessly as breath. The journey before you is both an unveiling and a return. With each chapter, you will descend deeper into the forbidden architecture of manifestation, where thought crystallizes into form and intention weaves the world with the elegance of ancient law. Before we get into the book, comment "I am ready" to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Hidden Blueprint of Thought. Chapter 1. The Mirror of the Mind. Long ago, in a small village among rolling hills, lived a woman named Edith. Each morning she would wake to tend her garden, muttering under her breath about the endless work and the weeds that seemed to multiply overnight. Her days felt heavy, and the world around her appeared dull and lifeless. Then one morning, something shifted. As she knelt among her flowers, instead of her usual complaints, she whispered, "These hands of mine create such beauty." The moment these words left her lips, she noticed the morning dew sparkled more brilliantly on the petals, and the birds' songs seemed to carry a sweeter melody. This truth echoes through the ages. Your thoughts are not confined within the walls of your mind. They are vibrations that ripple outward, touching everything around you. Each thought you release carries a frequency that shapes the very fabric of your reality. When you speak to yourself with harshness, you tune your entire being to that frequency, and the universe reflects it back. But when you alter the tone of your inner dialogue, the world shifts to match your new vibration. Picture the surface of a still pond. The way sunlight dances upon water holds ancient wisdom about the nature of reality. As Edith stood beside such a pond one afternoon, she noticed how her reflection appeared dark and distorted when she stood in shadow. Moving just a few steps into the sunlight, her reflection transformed, becoming bright and clear. The water hadn't changed, only her position had shifted. Just as Edith's reflection transformed with her movement, your outer world transforms with your inner stance. The circumstances you encounter are not fixed reality, but mirrors reflecting your inner dialogue back to you. When you shift the quality of your self-talk, you alter the reflection that life presents. Ancient practice. As the first light touches the horizon each morning, find a quiet space. Draw 3 slow breaths, allowing each exhale to carry away old patterns of thought. Then, with intention and feeling, speak aloud one sentence of love directed toward yourself. It might be, "I am worthy of all good things," or "My presence brings light to this world." As these words leave your lips, envision the universe rearranging itself to match this new frequency you've created. Watch as your day unfolds in harmony with this higher vibration you've set in motion. Chapter 2. The Whisper That Shapes Reality. In a remote mountain village, Mabel lived a life dictated by routine and careful planning. Each morning she would meticulously list her tasks, never deviating from her predetermined path. Yet something began to change when she started noticing gentle nudges, subtle promptings that seemed to arise from nowhere. One morning, rather than taking her usual route to the marketplace, she felt drawn to walk down an unfamiliar street. Following this quiet urging, she discovered an ancient bookshop she had never seen before, filled with exactly the knowledge she had been secretly yearning for. These coincidences multiplied, a chance meeting that led to an opportunity, a delayed journey that protected her from a storm, an unexpected detour that brought her to a healing spring. The universe speaks in whispers, not shouts. Its language is the soft brush of intuition against your consciousness, the gentle tug that makes you pause mid-step, the unexpected thought that floats into your mind like a feather on the breeze. When you learn to attune yourself to these subtle messages, you begin to dance with the intelligence that orchestrates the cosmos. Mabel's understanding deepened one spring afternoon as she watched a dandelion scatter its seeds in the wind. Each tiny parachute carried within it an entire blueprint for new life, knowing precisely where to land, when to take root, and how to grow. Just as every seed contains the intelligence to fulfill its destiny, so too does every intuitive prompt carry the wisdom to guide you toward your highest good. As she followed one floating seed with her eyes, Mabel realized that nature never forces its way forward. The seed doesn't question whether it should float left or right. It surrenders to the current of air that carries it. In the same way, your intuition doesn't demand or insist. It invites. The universe's guidance comes as a gentle knowing, a soft clarity that feels like remembering something you've always known. You too possess this inner compass, this ability to sense the subtle currents of universal intelligence. When you quiet the noise of doubt and expectation, you can hear the whispers that have always been there, guiding you toward experiences that serve your highest growth. Ancient practice. Before taking action on any idea today, pause for 10 seconds. Release your breath slowly and ask your heart, is this expansion? Wait for the response that feels like a gentle widening within. This is your inner wisdom speaking, not through words, but through the language of feeling. Trust the answer that brings a sense of spaciousness to your being. Chapter 3. The Architect Within. In a village known for its master artisans lived a woodworker named Roscoe. Each morning, before touching his tools, he would sit at his workbench and sketch his visions. Yet something peculiar began occurring. The pieces that emerged from his hands matched not his detailed drawings, but the feeling with which he had drawn them. When his heart soared with possibility while sketching, the finished works possessed an ethereal grace that transcended his plans. But on days clouded by doubt, even his most precise measurements yielded ordinary results. Through this pattern, a deeper truth revealed itself. The universe responds not to our blueprints, but to the energy that creates them. Your thoughts are not mere mental pictures. They are energetic templates that the universe uses to shape circumstance. Just as a crystal forms along invisible geometric lines, your reality crystallizes around the frequency of your convictions. The outer world must, by universal law, arrange itself to match your inner certainty. This principle explains why two people can follow identical steps toward a goal, yet arrive at vastly different destinations. It is not the action alone that determines the outcome, but the energetic signature behind it. Your belief system acts as an invisible architecture that either supports or undermines your desires. To demonstrate this truth, observe how Roscoe learned to work with the hidden laws of creation. One autumn morning, he received a commission to craft a ceremonial bowl from an ancient oak. Instead of imposing his will upon the wood, he sat with it in silence. As his hands moved across the surface, he allowed himself to feel the story within the grain. Hour after hour, he carved not according to his original sketch, but in harmony with what the wood revealed. The result was unlike anything he had planned. It was infinitely more beautiful. The bowl seemed to contain movement itself, as if the tree's decades of dancing in the wind had been captured in its curves. This experience teaches us that creation is always a partnership with the universe. Your role is not to force your vision into being, but to align your frequency with what wishes to emerge. When you learn to co-create in this way, you discover that destiny is not a path to be carved against resistance, but a dance of allowing. The universe holds infinite possibilities, but it can only deliver those that match your energetic state. Your task is not to design your destiny, but to become the frequency of what you desire. When you shift your inner state, outer circumstances naturally reorganize themselves to reflect this new vibration. Ancient practice. As twilight approaches, take a single piece of paper and write one heart's desire. Fold it once, holding it between your palms. Now, close your eyes and whisper words of gratitude as if your desire has already manifested. Feel the reality of its presence in your life. This is not an exercise in wishing. It is a moment of witnessing what is energetically present. The universe responds not to what you want, but to what you recognize as already true within yourself. Chapter 4. The Field responds to certainty. Along the winding streets of a coastal town, there lived a woman named Loretta, who diligently practiced her daily affirmations, yet harbored a persistent whisper of doubt. Each morning she would stand before her mirror, reciting words of abundance and joy, all while an inner voice questioned whether her practice held any true power. One autumn morning, as she walked along the shore, a peculiar event transformed her understanding forever. A small boat, struggling against fierce waves, caught her attention. Without thinking, she found herself declaring with complete conviction, "The boat will reach shore safely." In that moment, her usual doubt vanished, replaced by an inexplicable knowing. As if responding to her certainty, the winds shifted, and the boat glided smoothly to harbor. This single experience unveiled a truth that had eluded her. The universe responds not to words alone, but to the unwavering certainty behind them. Your thoughts create reality not through hope or wish, but through absolute knowing. When you speak to the universe with complete conviction, it has no choice but to mirror your certainty back to you. Consider this. Every great achievement in human history began with someone's absolute conviction. The Wright brothers didn't hope the plane would fly. They knew it would, even before it did. This knowing created an energetic blueprint that reality had to fulfill. In a small garden behind her home, Loretta decided to conduct an experiment. She planted 2 identical seeds in separate pots. Over the first, she spoke daily with complete trust, seeing in her mind's eye the vibrant plant it would become. Over the second, she allowed her usual worry to surface, wondering if it would grow at all. Days passed, and a remarkable difference emerged. The seed, nurtured by trust, sprouted into a strong, healthy plant, while its companion remained dormant in the soil. Through this simple demonstration, Loretta understood that the universe doesn't respond to what we wish for. It manifests what we absolutely know to be true. This lesson speaks directly to your own creative power. The world around you isn't shaped by your hopes or wishes, but by your deepest convictions. When you declare something with absolute certainty, you create an energetic permission slip for its manifestation. Your certainty becomes the foundation upon which reality builds. Ancient practice of certainty. Stand tall each night, place your hand upon your heart, and declare 3 times with unwavering conviction, "I allow what I love to become real." Feel each word resonate with absolute knowing, just as you know the sun will rise tomorrow. This is not a plea to the universe. It is a declaration of what is already true. Chapter 5. Emotion, the Magnetic Current. In a small mountain village, a man named Chester spent his days in fervent prayer, begging the heavens to change his circumstances. Night after night he would kneel by his window, his words tinged with desperation and frustration. "Why won't my prayers be answered?" he would ask the stars, his heart heavy with disappointment. What you must understand about the sacred mechanics of manifestation is this. Your emotional state acts as a magnetic force, drawing to you experiences that match its frequency. When Chester prayed from a place of lack and desperation, he unknowingly pushed away the very abundance he sought. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, responds not to words, but to the energetic signature of your feelings. Think of emotion as a tuning fork. Each vibration sends ripples through the fabric of reality. Frustration attracts more reasons to feel frustrated. Anxiety draws more situations that provoke anxiety. But joy is the master key that unlocks the storehouse of universal abundance. The truth lies not in changing your circumstances first, but in finding genuine appreciation for what exists now. This is not mere positive thinking. It is the fundamental law of energetic resonance. When you radiate authentic joy, you become a powerful magnet for experiences that match that vibration. One morning, Chester stepped outside his door and, for no particular reason, began to whistle a simple tune. As he walked through the village, something shifted in the air around him. A neighbor smiled and offered him fresh bread. A lost letter containing good news suddenly appeared on his path. A chance encounter led to an unexpected opportunity. This simple act, choosing joy without condition, had altered the magnetic field of his existence. He hadn't changed his circumstances. He had changed his broadcast frequency. The universe, ever responsive to authentic emotional signals, began orchestrating a different dance around him. You see, joy isn't merely an emotional luxury. It is practical metaphysics in action. When you cultivate genuine appreciation for your present moment, you activate a magnetic force that draws more reasons for joy toward you. This is not about denying challenges or pretending all is well when it isn't. Rather, it's about finding the thread of authentic appreciation within the fabric of your current reality. The ancient practice. Each afternoon, pause in your daily activities. Bring to mind something truly beautiful, perhaps a moment of kindness you witnessed, a child's laughter, or the way sunlight plays through leaves. Don't simply recall the memory. Allow the emotion it evokes to expand within you for 60 seconds. Let the feeling grow until it fills your entire being. This is not mere remembrance. It is energetic attunement to the frequency of joy. In these 60 seconds, you become a living magnet for grace. Chapter 6. Trusting the Invisibility. In the quiet dawn of a winter morning, Winnie stood at her window, her heart heavy with doubt. For months, she had diligently practiced visualization, spoken her affirmations, and held fast to her dreams. Yet the physical world seemed unmoved by her spiritual efforts. "Show me a sign," she whispered to the universe. "Just one small indication that these principles work." The silence that followed only deepened her uncertainty, but as she turned from the window, a curious thing occurred. A letter arrived, one that had been lost in transit for weeks, containing an unexpected opportunity. Later that day, a chance encounter with an old friend revealed a perfect solution to a problem she had been quietly carrying. By sunset, 3 separate strangers had mentioned the very project she had been visualizing, each from a different angle. These were not the dramatic manifestations she had demanded. They were whispers, gentle nudges, subtle arrangements of circumstance that could easily be dismissed as coincidence. Yet together, they formed a pattern too precise to ignore. The universe operates like a master weaver, threading together countless unseen strands before a single pattern becomes visible in the tapestry. Just as the mighty oak exists within the acorn long before the first shoot breaks soil, your desires are taking shape in realms beyond physical sight. Consider the natural world, how a flower forms within its bud, hidden from view until the perfect moment of blooming. The most powerful forces in existence are often invisible: gravity, magnetism, love. Your thoughts and feelings operate on these same subtle planes, orchestrating countless unseen adjustments before physical reality shifts to match their frequency. In the kitchens of an ancient monastery, a wise baker taught his apprentices the mysteries of bread-making through silence. He would mix the dough, add the yeast, and then wait. To the untrained eye, nothing appeared to be happening. Hours would pass without visible change, but beneath the surface, millions of microscopic transformations were occurring. The entire structure of the dough was being transformed by invisible processes. This simple truth mirrors the way manifestation unfolds in your life. The seeming stillness that follows your spiritual work is not inaction. It is a period of unseen acceleration. Every thought you think, every feeling you feel, sets in motion forces beyond your current perception. Just as the baker trusts the unseen action of yeast, you must learn to trust the invisible mechanics of manifestation. Your role is not to force the process, but to maintain the proper conditions, keeping your vibration high, your faith strong, and your attention focused on the desired outcome. The practice. Each night before sleep, in the sacred space between waking and dreaming, place your hand upon your heart and speak these words. I thank the invisible forces that even now work on my behalf. Though my eyes may not yet see, I trust the perfect unfolding of my desires. Let this gratitude be your final thought as you drift into sleep, knowing that the unseen realms are ceaselessly working to align your outer world with your inner truth. Chapter 7. Frequency over Force. A merchant named Gus believed that success could only be earned through relentless toil. Each morning he rose before the sun, his muscles aching from the previous day's labors. He pushed carts of goods through the marketplace, bargained until his voice grew hoarse, and returned home long after darkness had fallen. Yet despite his ceaseless efforts, prosperity remained just beyond his grasp. One evening, exhausted and frustrated, Gus collapsed beneath an ancient olive tree. As his breathing slowed, wisdom began to flow through the silence. The universe operates not through force, but through harmony. Like water finding its natural course, abundance flows most freely when we align with its current rather than fighting against it. Your struggle, like Gus's, stems from a fundamental misunderstanding of universal law. Physical effort alone cannot manifest your desires. It is your vibrational stance that determines your experience. When you push against life, you create resistance. When you align with life's natural flow, you invite effortless achievement. Think of the difference between swimming upstream and floating downstream. The same distance is covered, yet one path depletes while the other energizes. This is the secret of vibrational alignment. It is not the action itself, but the quality of energy behind it that determines its power. In a garden filled with rare flowers, a hummingbird caught Gus's attention. While other birds darted frantically between blossoms, this one remained perfectly still in midair, sipping nectar with practiced ease. Though appearing motionless, its wings moved in perfect harmony with natural law, maintaining its position without visible strain. This is your lesson. The hummingbird achieves through alignment what other birds attempt through chaos. Its stillness is not inaction. It is perfect positioning. Similarly, your greatest achievements will come not from forcing outcomes, but from finding your point of harmony with universal flow. The practice. Select one goal. that you have been struggling to achieve through force. For a single day, release all pushing, striving, and forcing. Instead, close your eyes 3 times throughout the day and visualize ease flowing into every aspect of this desire. Feel the lightness of allowing rather than forcing. Watch how circumstances begin to arrange themselves when you step into harmony with universal law. Chapter 8. The Law of Allowing. In a sunlit valley, where ancient wisdom still whispers through the mountain winds, there lived a woman named Millie. Each morning, she would meticulously plan her day, scheduling every moment, attempting to orchestrate life's symphony with rigid precision. Yet, despite her careful calculations, life seemed to flow against her wishes, like water refusing to be contained in cupped hands. Through days filled with frustration, Millie discovered that her need for control was the very force keeping her desires at bay. The universe operates through a divine intelligence far greater than our limited understanding. When you release your grip on outcomes, you align with this intelligence rather than resist it. The law of attraction responds not to force but to allowance. In your desire to control circumstances, you create resistance to the natural flow of abundance. Think of the universe as a grand river. Its currents know the perfect path to your destination. Your role is not to fight these currents, but to navigate them with trust. Surrender is not weakness. It is the highest form of spiritual strength. When you release the need to control every detail, you open yourself to possibilities beyond your imagination. The universe can only deliver its gifts when your hands are open to receive them. By the flowing stream near her home, Millie learned this truth through a simple act. She crafted a small paper boat, carefully folding each crease. In past times, she would have tried to guide it with a stick, ensuring it followed her chosen path. But this day was different. She placed the boat upon the water and watched. The little vessel danced along the current, finding its way around rocks and through gentle rapids. Where the stream forked, the boat naturally chose the wider channel. When leaves blocked its path, the water's flow gently cleared the way. Without intervention, the boat's journey was more graceful than any course Millie could have planned. In this moment, the truth became clear. The universe knows the perfect path. Your highest purpose is not to control, but to participate in the divine dance of creation. When you surrender your need to manipulate every outcome, you become one with the flow of universal intelligence. Just as the paper boat found its way by yielding to the stream's wisdom, your dreams manifest most elegantly when you trust the universe's guidance. This is not passive resignation, but active participation in the cosmic order. By releasing control, you activate the law of attraction's most powerful aspect, the ability to bring you what you need through paths you could never have planned. Sacred practice. Before you rest tonight, sit quietly in the darkness of your room. Take 3 deep breaths, and on a piece of paper, write 3 aspects of your life you've been trying to control. Read each one aloud, then speak these words. I release my need to control this outcome. I trust in the wisdom of the universe. Feel the lightness that comes with surrender. Let sleep carry you into dreams, knowing that the universal intelligence is already at work, orchestrating events in perfect harmony with your highest good. Chapter 9. The Currency of Attention. Along a winding path through the valley, Clarence carried 2 buckets of water each morning, stopping to nourish every plant he encountered. His garden overflowed with both magnificent roses and stubborn thistles, each receiving equal measure of his precious water. As the seasons turned, he wondered why his prized flowers struggled while weeds flourished alongside them. Your attention, like Clarence's water, flows ceaselessly into whatever captures your gaze. This universal principle reveals itself through the sacred mathematics of consciousness. Where awareness travels, energy follows. The universe operates through this divine economy of attention, transforming your focus into manifest reality with unwavering precision. When you scatter your creative force across countless concerns, you dilute its potency. Like rain falling everywhere at once, it lacks the power to nurture deep roots. Yet when you direct this force with intention, it becomes as powerful as a river carving through stone. Your attention is not merely passive observation. It is the very substance from which your reality is crafted. In the quiet depths of an ancient forest lived a wise gardener named Chen, who tended the most beautiful garden in all the land. Travelers would marvel at how his flowers bloomed more vibrantly than any others. One day, a young apprentice asked for his secret. Chen smiled and led him to a small plot where only a single flower grew. Most gardeners, Chen explained, try to nurture 100 flowers at once, giving each just a drop of care. I pour my entire heart into this one bloom. When it reaches perfection, only then do I plant another. The apprentice watched as Chen spent an entire morning tending to this single flower, studying its needs, adjusting its soil, speaking to it with reverence. This truth echoes through your own experience. When your awareness splinters across countless desires, each receives only fragments of creative power. But when you gather your attention like precious water and pour it into one vessel of intention, you activate the law of selective focus. This law teaches that concentrated attention becomes concentrated reality. The ancient practice of sacred focus. Choose 1 hour today and dedicate it to a single joyful task. Treat this time as holy ground, allowing no distractions to breach its boundaries. Pour your complete presence into this one activity as if it were the most sacred ritual in existence. In doing so, you participate in the original creative act, the transformation of pure attention into manifest reality. Chapter 10. Gratitude as Acceleration. In a small cottage at the edge of an ancient forest lived a woman named Beatrice. Each morning she would mechanically mutter, "Thank you," while going through her daily routines, the words falling empty from her lips like dried leaves. Yet, one autumn morning, as golden light streamed through her window, something shifted within her heart. Looking at her simple breakfast of bread and tea, she felt a sudden, genuine wave of appreciation wash over her. The warmth of the tea, the nourishment of the bread, each became precious beyond measure. In that moment of sincere gratitude, a neighbor unexpectedly brought her fresh eggs, and later that day, a forgotten debt was repaid. Within the fabric of existence lies a hidden law. Authentic gratitude accelerates manifestation. Like a cosmic catalyst, true appreciation raises your vibrational frequency, allowing desires to materialize with heightened speed. This is not mere coincidence, but the operation of universal law. When you exist in genuine thankfulness, you align with the natural abundance of the universe, creating a conduit through which blessings flow effortlessly. The secret lies not in the words spoken, but in the feeling generated. Mechanical gratitude is like trying to light a fire with wet wood. The spark cannot catch. But when appreciation flows from your heart's depths, it ignites a chain reaction in the quantum field, drawing similar frequencies toward you with magnetic precision. One evening, while sorting through old belongings, Beatrice found a tarnished silver coin. Instead of dismissing it as worthless, she began polishing it mindfully, appreciating its history and beauty. As she worked, the metal began to gleam, revealing intricate patterns. That week, she discovered coins in unexpected places, in forgotten coat pockets, between cushions, and even along her daily walk. Each discovery seemed to multiply, mirroring her appreciation of that first coin. This simple tale reveals a profound truth. What you genuinely appreciate, appreciates. Like Beatrice's coin, each moment of heartfelt gratitude polishes your connection to universal abundance, making it easier for similar blessings to find their way to you. The universe responds not to the duration of your gratitude, but to its depth and authenticity. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment and close your eyes. Place your hand on your heart and speak these words. I am grateful not for what comes to me, but because I am. My existence is the miracle. Let this truth resonate within you for several breaths. Recognize that you are not separate from the abundance you seek. You are its source and expression. Part 2. Manifesting Through Conscious Power. Chapter 11. The Physics of Faith. In a bustling marketplace stood Howard, a merchant who meticulously recorded every transaction in his ledger. While others spoke of belief shaping reality, he demanded proof, seeking patterns in the chaos of daily commerce. Each morning, he would note his expectations for the day's sales, initially dismissing any connection between his thoughts and outcomes. Yet as the seasons turned, his records revealed an undeniable truth. On days when he held unwavering faith in abundance, customers appeared in waves. When doubt clouded his mind, even the most loyal patrons seemed to vanish. Through careful observation, Howard discovered that belief was not merely wishful thinking. It was an organizing force that arranged circumstances with mathematical precision. The universe operates through invisible frameworks, where faith serves as the architect of experience. Your beliefs are not passive hopes floating in consciousness. They are active fields that structure reality around you. Each thought of certainty creates an energetic blueprint, drawing matching experiences into form. This is not magic, but metaphysical mechanics, the way the cosmos has always functioned. Consider how a spider's web, though nearly invisible, creates a precise geometric pattern that catches morning dew. Similarly, your sustained faith weaves an unseen matrix that captures corresponding possibilities from the field of infinite potential. This matrix becomes the framework upon which your manifested experiences build themselves. In a distant valley lived a blind weaver whose tapestries were sought throughout the land. Though she could not see the threads, her fingers danced with certainty, guided by an inner knowing that transcended sight. As she worked, invisible patterns emerged, eventually revealing masterpieces that others could behold. Those who watched her work understood that she was not creating the patterns. She was allowing them to emerge through her unwavering trust in the process. Like the blind weaver, you are constantly creating patterns through your beliefs, whether conscious of this process or not. Your faith is not just a feeling, It is a structured force that shapes the very fabric of your reality. When you maintain steady conviction, you establish a stable framework that allows your desires to materialize with natural grace. Practice. Find a quiet moment as twilight approaches. Sit in stillness and affirm silently, "My faith is architecture," while picturing your dreams as already framed. Let this affirmation become the foundation upon which your desires build themselves into form. Chapter 12. Dissolving the Old Story. In a village at the edge of time lived a woman named Nora, whose steps seemed perpetually shadowed by misfortune. Each morning she would whisper to her reflection, "Another day of bad luck," unknowingly weaving that expectation into the fabric of her hours. When opportunities arose, she walked past them, certain they belonged to others more blessed by fate. Until one dawn, as sunlight streamed through her window, she noticed how the rays transformed ordinary dust into floating gold. In that moment, a truth crystallized within her heart. She had been authoring her own story of limitation, penning herself into corners of impossibility. The essence of your nature flows from the story you tell about yourself. Your identity is not a fixed inheritance, but a living declaration, rewritten with each thought you choose to believe. When you proclaim, "I am," the universe listens with perfect attention, arranging circumstances to match your proclamation. This is not mere psychology. It is the metaphysical law of self-conception. Your words about yourself are seeds planted in the fertile soil of infinite possibility. "I am unlucky" creates a harvest of perceived misfortune, while "I am blessed" yields a bounty of recognized grace. The power lies not in positive thinking, but in aligning with your original nature, which knows no limitation. In another village lived an artist who purchased an old house. Its walls were dull and peeling, covered in layers of faded paint. As she began scraping away the surface, brilliant colors emerged beneath. Deep blues and radiant golds that had been hidden but never lost. With each revealed section, the room transformed, not through addition but through removal of what concealed its inherent beauty. So, it is with you. Beneath the accumulated layers of limiting beliefs lies your original radiance. You need not become something new. You need only remove what obscures what you have always been. Your true identity exists like those vibrant walls waiting to be rediscovered. The artist's revelation mirrors your own journey. Each limiting belief you release reveals more of your essential nature. The process is not about becoming someone different, but returning to who you truly are. Ancient practice. Each morning, find a quiet moment before your day begins. Write in your journal, "I am becoming who I truly am." Continue writing these words until you feel emotion rise within your chest. It may be joy, peace, or a gentle knowing. When this feeling emerges, stop writing. Close your eyes and breathe into this sensation, allowing it to expand through your being. This practice dissolves the false and reveals the true, one breath at a time. Chapter 13. Harmony with the Quantum Field. In ancient times, a shepherd named Virgil lay beneath the vast expanse of stars, his heart yearning to understand their secrets. Night after night, he gazed upward until he noticed something extraordinary. The stars seemed to pulse in rhythm with his attention. When his thoughts wandered, they dimmed. When he focused with pure intention, they brightened. Through this simple observation, a profound truth unveiled itself. The universe is not a passive backdrop to your existence. It is an active participant in your journey of consciousness. Every particle, every wave of light, every quantum of energy responds to your awareness. This is not mystical poetry, but the fundamental nature of reality itself. The observer and the observed are eternally linked in a dance of co-creation. Your consciousness does not merely witness reality, it shapes it. Each thought ripples through the fabric of existence. Each intention sends waves through the quantum field. The universe mirrors your awareness back to you with perfect precision, not because it must, but because this is the very nature of consciousness itself. Just as waves on the ocean's surface express the deeper movements below, your physical reality expresses the movements of your consciousness. The material world you perceive is the tip of an infinite iceberg of possibility, shaped by the depth and quality of your awareness. On a moonlit beach, Virgil discovered this truth anew. As he sat in silence, he began to notice his heartbeat naturally synchronizing with the rhythm of the waves lapping at the shore. The more he relaxed into this harmony, the stronger it became, until he could no longer distinguish where his pulse ended and the ocean's pulse began. This simple experience reveals a universal principle. When you recognize the living intelligence in all things, reality shifts from being an object of your perception to a partner in your creation. The waves weren't merely matching Virgil's heart. They were engaging in conscious dialogue with his presence. Sacred practice. Find a clear night when stars fill the sky. Sit or lie in stillness, allowing your breath to become soft and natural. Gaze upward with gentle eyes, not straining but receiving. After several minutes, whisper inwardly, "We are partners." Notice how the field of stars responds to your recognition. Feel the subtle shift as the universe acknowledges your awareness of its awareness. Maintain this communion for as long as it feels natural, knowing that with each such practice, you strengthen your conscious partnership with the living universe. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Gift Hidden in Resistance. A merchant named Lula watched her carefully laid plans dissolve time after time. Each morning she would arrange her goods with precision, only to find unexpected obstacles arising. A sudden storm scattering her wares, competitors claiming her usual spot, or customers choosing different paths through the marketplace. With each setback, her frustration mounted until wisdom began to whisper through her disappointments. The universe operates through the law of strengthening, a principle as ancient as creation itself. When you encounter resistance, you stand at the threshold of transformation. Just as a butterfly must struggle against its cocoon to develop the strength for flight, your challenges arise not to obstruct, but to fortify. Each obstacle presents a sacred invitation to expand beyond your current dimensions of being. Resistance signals the presence of powerful creative forces at work. When waters meet a rock, they do not cease flowing. They find new channels, carve deeper paths, or rise to flow over. This is the wisdom of universal intelligence teaching you to transcend your limitations. Your setbacks are not punishment, but preparation, not barriers, but bridges to your expanding consciousness. In the mountains lived a young woman who dreamed of reaching the highest peak. Each day she climbed, her muscles burning, her breath labored. She cursed the steepness, the rough terrain, the bitter wind. But as weeks passed, she noticed her steps growing stronger, her endurance deepening. The very resistance that challenged her had sculpted her into someone capable of ascending heights she once thought impossible. This simple truth echoes through existence. Strength emerges through challenge. The pressure that feels like opposition is actually the universe's mechanism for evolution. Your struggles are not separate from your path. They are the path itself, transforming intention into tangible power. The young woman's journey reveals your own truth. Each step against resistance builds the muscle of manifestation. Your challenges aren't blocking your desires. They're building your capacity to hold them. When you embrace resistance as your ally, its power transforms from obstacle to opportunity. Sacred practice. Stand in quiet solitude. Place your hand upon your heart and speak aloud the name of your greatest current challenge. Say, "I honor you as my teacher. Through you, my strength reveals itself. Thank you for showing me the depth of my power." Let the words resonate until you feel their truth in your bones. Chapter 15. The Echo Effect. In a bustling village square, Opal stood at her window each morning watching the world pass by. Her sharp tongue found fault in everyone. The baker's bread seemed stale, the weaver's cloth appeared coarse, and the children's laughter rang too loud. With each criticism she cast outward, a shadow seemed to fall across her own path. Merchants grew curt in their dealings, neighbors turned away, and a persistent gloom settled over her days. You exist within an infinite web of energy, where every thought and feeling ripples outward like waves upon still water. The ancient masters understood this principle. The universe operates as a perfect mirror, reflecting back precisely what emanates from within. When you cast judgment into the world, that same frequency returns multiplied. This is not punishment, but rather the natural operation of universal law. Your words carry power beyond their sound. They are vessels of energy that shape the invisible architecture of your reality. Each criticism released becomes a seed planted in the fertile soil of consciousness. These seeds grow and multiply, creating more of their own kind. The law of energetic return operates with mathematical precision, ensuring that what you send forth must complete its circle back to its source. This principle extends beyond mere words. Your thoughts, even unspoken, broadcast vibrations that touch everything around you. Like radio waves filling space, your energy signature influences the field of possibilities surrounding you. When you transmit frequencies of judgment, the universe can only respond in kind, orchestrating experiences that mirror your output. In the heart of an ancient canyon, Opal discovered this truth. Seeking solitude one evening, she began to sing, first her usual complaints, then, moved by the majesty of the stone walls, a song of pure joy. As her melody returned to her, transformed by the canyon's acoustics, she understood. The harsh notes had returned harsh, while the beautiful ones came back with enhanced sweetness. The canyon taught what life had been showing her. Every vibration returns to its sender, transformed but true to its original nature. The wisdom lies not in attempting to shield yourself from this law, but in consciously choosing what you send into the great echo chamber of existence. Each moment offers a new choice, to criticize or to bless, to judge or to accept, to constrict or to expand. The power rests not in controlling what returns, but in mindfully selecting what you cast forth. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment as the day draws to a close. Choose someone whose actions have troubled you. Rather than dwelling on their faults, send them a wave of pure compassion, free from conditions or expectations. Then, remain still and listen. Notice how this higher vibration returns to you, carrying peace that transcends understanding. This practice, passed down through generations of wisdom keepers, reveals the perfect symmetry of energy's eternal dance. Chapter 16. Parallel Possibilities. Along a winding mountain path, Felix stood at a crossroads where 3 trails diverged into the mist. Each morning he would pause at this junction during his walk, wondering what lay beyond each route. One dawn, something shifted in his awareness. As he gazed down each path, he felt not just their physical presence, but the weight of possibility each one carried. The universe pulses with infinite potential, each moment branching into countless realities. Your consciousness acts as the great selector, choosing which version of reality manifests in your experience. This is not mere philosophy. It is the foundational architecture of existence. When you understand that multiple versions of every situation exist simultaneously, you gain the power to navigate toward your chosen experience. Think of your attention as a beam of light in a vast room of possibilities. Whatever this beam illuminates becomes your lived reality. The rest remains in shadow, not gone, but unexpressed. This is why 2 people can experience the same event differently. Each has selected, through their focus, a different version of that moment from the field of infinite potential. A merchant named Felix discovered this truth through a simple daily practice. Each evening before sleep, he would imagine walking 3 different paths through an ancient forest. On the first path, he saw himself struggling, branches catching his clothes. On the second, the walk was uneventful, neither difficult nor inspiring. But on the third path, something magical occurred. The very air seemed to shimmer with possibility. As he continued this practice, he noticed that this third path began to glow more brightly in his mind's eye, as if calling to him. One morning, Felix realized that this visualization had transformed his actual life. Business opportunities that once seemed blocked now flowed effortlessly. Relationships that were strained became harmonious. He hadn't changed his external actions. He had simply learned to attune his attention to the reality he preferred. This tale reveals a profound truth. Your path is not fixed, but chosen moment by moment through your focus. When multiple possibilities present themselves, your attention naturally gravitates toward one version of events. This choice, whether conscious or unconscious, determines which timeline becomes your experience. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space and sit comfortably. Picture 2 distinct futures before you, like paths stretching into the distance. Notice which path seems to emit a subtle luminosity, a quiet radiance that draws you forward. Rest your attention gently on this brighter path until you feel a warm sensation in your body. This warmth is your recognition of alignment with your highest timeline. Chapter 17. The Creative Vacuum. In a small village among ancient hills, a woman named Daisy lived surrounded by years of accumulated treasures. Her home, once a sanctuary, had become a maze of memories and mementos. Each item held a story, yet collectively they created a weight that pressed upon her spirit. One morning, as sunlight struggled to pierce through her crowded windows, she felt an inexplicable urge to begin removing items one by one. What flows through your life mirrors the space you maintain within. This truth, as old as the mountains themselves, governs the dance between emptiness and abundance. When you cling to what no longer serves, you inadvertently block the channel through which new blessings flow. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, cannot pour fresh water into a cup already full. As you release what has completed its purpose, you activate a profound spiritual law. Nature abhors a vacuum, yet this principle extends far beyond the physical realm. Each space you clear with conscious intention becomes a magnetic void, drawing precisely what your soul requires for its next evolution. This emptiness is not mere absence. It is pregnant possibility. When you release with gratitude rather than loss, you transmute the energy of what you've released into an invitation for greater alignment. The universe responds not to your words or wishes, but to the quality of space you maintain. In a distant valley, Daisy discovered this truth anew. After clearing her garden of withered plants, she noticed how swiftly new growth emerged from the freshly tended soil. Each evening she would empty her stone bird bath, cleaning it with care and intention. Without fail, by morning's first light, she would find it brimming with crystal-clear rainwater, even on cloudless nights. This simple act contains the essence of universal law. Nature fills whatever space is mindfully prepared. Just as the empty bird bath drew fresh water, your cleared consciousness attracts precisely what serves your highest good. The rainwater in Daisy's bird bath reflects your own potential for renewal. When you create space with conscious intention, the universe responds with unerring precision. The key lies not in what you seek to attract, but in your willingness to release what came before. Sacred practice. Choose one possession or belief that has completed its journey with you. Hold it with gratitude, acknowledging its service in your life. Then, with reverence and intention, release it completely. Observe the subtle shift in your energy as you create this space, knowing that in this void, new possibilities already gather. Chapter 18. The Subtle Art of Non-Resistance. In a village where time seemed to move like molasses, Earl spent his days wrestling with life itself. Each morning he would rise before dawn, arms tensed and jaw clenched, ready to battle whatever obstacles lay ahead. His garden refused to bloom despite constant tending. His business ventures withered despite relentless effort. His relationship strained under the weight of his rigid determination. The harder Earl pushed, the more life seemed to push back. He tried to force seeds to sprout faster, clients to sign contracts sooner, and loved ones to bend to his will. Each day ended with his body aching and his spirit diminished. Yet he would rise again, convinced that through sheer force he could bend reality to his desires. Within you exists the same tendency to resist what is. This resistance, this constant pushing against the current of life, creates the very turbulence you seek to overcome. The universe operates through perfect law, not the law of force, but the law of harmonious alignment. When you cease your struggle, you tap into a power far greater than personal will. Exhaustion finally brought Earl to his knees one stormy evening. Too tired to fight, too weary to resist, He collapsed into his chair and, for the first time in years, simply allowed himself to be. In that moment of complete surrender, something shifted. The rain outside no longer seemed an enemy to his plans, but a nourishing gift to his parched garden. His breathing deepened, and his muscles released years of accumulated tension. Along the banks of the great river that wound through the village, a fisherman named Wei spent his days working with the water's natural rhythm. One morning, as Earl watched him, Wei gestured toward his boat. "Come," Wei said simply. Earl stepped into the wooden vessel, his body automatically tensing to take control. Wei shook his head and pointed downstream. "The river knows the way." Gradually, Earl allowed his grip on the boat's edge to loosen. As they drifted with the current, he witnessed how effortlessly they navigated around obstacles. The river's flow carried them precisely where they needed to go, with far more grace than any amount of paddling could have achieved. Just as the river knows its course to the sea, the universe knows the path to your highest good. Your resistance creates the very turbulence you fear. When you release the need to control every moment, to force every outcome, you align with a wisdom far greater than your limited perspective can comprehend. Sacred practice. When tension arises, whisper flow and relax every muscle instantly. Let this word become your bridge from struggle to surrender, from resistance to peace. In that moment of conscious release, feel yourself becoming one with the current of life itself. Chapter 19. Light Language of Joy. In the quietest corners of an ancient marketplace, a woman named Ruby discovered a truth that would transform her understanding of manifestation. Each morning, as she arranged her flower stall, she noticed something peculiar. Whenever she hummed while working, customers appeared as if summoned by the melody itself. Your relationship with joy shapes the universe's response to your presence. When Ruby began consciously experimenting with this principle, she observed that her happiest moments weren't merely emotional states. They were magnetic fields drawing synchronicity closer. The flowers seemed to stay fresh longer on days she sang to them. Her coins multiplied more swiftly when laughter seasoned her transactions. The universe speaks in frequencies, and joy is its native tongue. This isn't metaphor, but mechanism. Each burst of genuine delight sends ripples through the quantum field, organizing particles into patterns that mirror your inner state. Your happiness isn't frivolous, it's functional. It serves as a template that reality uses to structure itself around you. Think of joy as an instruction set written in light. When you access authentic happiness, you're not merely experiencing an emotion, you're broadcasting a blueprint for manifestation. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you vibrate. Joy is the highest vibration available to human consciousness. A child played near Ruby's stall one afternoon, her laughter pure and unbridled. As the sound rang out, butterflies began to gather. First one, then 3, then a dozen. They danced around the child as if her delight had materialized into wings. The other merchants watched in wonder as this impromptu display of natural magic unfolded. This simple scene reveals a profound truth. Joy doesn't just attract, it transforms. The child wasn't trying to summon butterflies. Her happiness simply created an energy field that beauty naturally inhabited. Her laughter spoke a language that nature inherently understood. The same principle operates in your life. When you allow yourself to experience genuine joy, you're not just feeling good, you're aligning with the creative force of the universe. Your delight becomes a form of prayer, more powerful than any words could be. Sacred practice. Choose a moment today to express joy without reason. Sing in your car, hum while preparing a meal, or laugh simply because you can. Don't analyze or question this practice. Simply allow your happiness to become a beacon. The universe will recognize this signal and respond in kind. Your joy is not just an emotion. It is a creative force waiting to be unleashed. Chapter 20. The Return to Wholeness. In the heart of a bustling city, a merchant named Calvin kept two distinct journals. One recorded his spiritual experiences, meditations, prayers, and moments of transcendence. The other tracked his mundane affairs, business transactions, daily tasks, and ordinary responsibilities. For years he maintained this artificial division, believing that spirituality occupied a separate realm from everyday existence. The universe speaks through all experiences, not just those labeled as sacred. When you partition life into holy and ordinary moments, you fragment the very wholeness seeking expression through you. Every breath carries divine intention. Each gesture contains the seeds of awakening. The truth emerges not in separation, but in unity. Your morning coffee ritual holds the same potential for enlightenment as your deepest meditation. The way you greet a stranger carries equal spiritual weight as your most earnest prayer. The divine force flowing through all things makes no distinction between mundane and miraculous. It simply flows. Consider the drop of water in the ocean. Does it maintain a boundary between itself and the vast expanse surrounding it? So too must you dissolve the imaginary lines between what you deem spiritual and ordinary. Your entire existence unfolds as one continuous sacred ceremony. In a small village far from Calvin's city, an elderly woman taught him this truth without words. Each evening she washed her dishes with such presence, such deliberate care, that the simple act became a form of worship. Her hands moved through the water with the same reverence others reserved for holy rituals. The soap bubbles caught the light like prayer beads, and the quiet splashing of water became her evening hymn. Watching her, Calvin understood. Spirituality doesn't descend from above, but emerges from within. The sacred reveals itself not in the action, but in the quality of attention brought to it. When consciousness infuses even the simplest task, the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary. This understanding realigns your entire approach to daily life. The morning commute becomes a moving meditation. Preparing a meal transforms into an act of love. Filing paperwork shifts from tedium to mindful service. The division between spiritual practice and everyday living dissolves in the light of awareness. Ancient practice. Choose one routine task you normally rush through or perform mindlessly. Today, approach it as a sacred ceremony. Whether folding laundry, walking to your car, or typing an email, slow your movements. Feel the air against your skin. Notice the subtle sounds and whisper, "Thank you," for this moment of quiet worship. Let this simple act become your temple, your prayer, your offering to the infinite. Part 3. The Forbidden Mechanics of Creation. Chapter 21. The Geometry of Intention. One tranquil dawn, Hazel sat cross-legged on her meditation cushion, sketchbook in hand. As her breath deepened, Her fingers began moving across the page, drawing shapes that seemed to emerge from silence itself. First circles, then triangles, each pattern resonating with a different frequency in her being. She noticed that spirals sparked joy, while squares brought stability. Without understanding why, she felt the geometry itself was speaking. Through your own journey of manifestation, you have likely sensed that intention carries structure. Just as snowflakes form in perfect symmetry, your thoughts arrange themselves in patterns unseen by physical eyes. These patterns ripple through the quantum field, organizing energy into form. The ancient ones knew this truth. They built temples aligned with sacred geometry, understanding that shape itself is a language of creation. When you hold a desire in your heart, it doesn't float formlessly in space. It creates a geometric blueprint in the fabric of reality. This is why visualization becomes more powerful when you sense the structural harmony of what you seek. Your consciousness naturally arranges energy into coherent patterns, like iron filings, aligning with a magnetic field. In a small garden outside her meditation room, Hazel began an experiment. Using colored sand, she drew perfect circles around certain seedlings while leaving others unmarked. Day after day, she maintained these patterns with focused intention. As weeks passed, she observed something remarkable. The plants encircled by her geometric intentions grew noticeably stronger, their stems more robust, their leaves more vibrant. The pattern itself seemed to nurture life. This simple observation reveals a profound truth. Thought and form are not separate. The geometries you hold in consciousness become templates through which energy flows into manifestation. When you align your intention with natural patterns of harmony, you tap into the very architecture of creation. The outer world mirrors these inner geometries. Notice how planets orbit in ellipses, how flowers spiral in Fibonacci sequences, how crystals form in precise angles. Your own creative power follows these same principles. Each intention you hold creates ripples of sacred geometry in the quantum field. Ancient practice for geometric manifestation. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Envision your deepest desire taking shape as a pattern of light around you. Let it form naturally, perhaps as a sphere of golden energy, a spiral of ascending light, or a perfect star of intention. Feel how this geometric form resonates with certainty in your being. Allow the pattern to pulse with life, knowing it is already organizing reality according to its divine blueprint. Breathe with this visualization until you sense your desire and its sacred geometry becoming one unified field of manifestation. Chapter 22. The Code of Contrast. In the heart of a remote village lived a merchant named Lyle, who cursed the shadows that periodically darkened his path. Each setback felt like a personal affront from the universe, until one fateful morning changed his understanding forever. Walking through the marketplace, Lyle watched a master weaver creating an intricate tapestry. The artisan worked with both light and dark threads, and when Lyle questioned the use of darker colors, the weaver simply smiled and said, "Without shadow, how would you recognize the light?" Your journey through life mirrors this ancient wisdom. The universe operates through the principle of contrast, a fundamental law that shapes desire and creation. When you encounter moments that feel misaligned with your wishes, these experiences serve as powerful teachers, revealing with pristine clarity what you truly seek. Like a sculptor who discovers the statue within the stone by removing what it is not, Your path to manifestation becomes sharper through contrast. Each no you encounter helps define the precise contours of your yes. This is not mere philosophy. It is the mechanics of consciousness itself. In a second tale, Lyle discovered this truth more deeply while observing an artist at work. The painter began not with bright colors, but with dark underpainting. "Why start with shadows?" Lyle inquired. The artist responded by completing the work. Only then did Lyle understand. The shadows gave the light places to dance, created dimension, and brought the entire piece to life. This revelation mirrors the process of your own creation. What you resist contains the seeds of clarity. Each disappointment, each moment of contrast, serves as a cosmic compass, pointing toward what you truly desire. The darkness doesn't oppose your light. It defines its edges, giving form to your dreams. The interpretation of this wisdom reveals a profound truth. Opposition is not obstruction, but definition. When you understand this principle, every contrast becomes a gift. Every challenge transforms into clarity, and every shadow reveals the precise shape of your light. Ancient practice. Sit in quietude and select one disappointment that currently touches your life. Place your hand over your heart and speak these words. I thank you, teacher of clarity. Through you, I now know what I truly seek. Feel the shift as resistance transforms into recognition. This practice aligns you with the creative force that uses all experiences, light and shadow, to sculpt your destiny. Chapter 23. Time as elastic thread. In the bustling heart of an ancient marketplace, a woman named Flora paced anxiously between stalls, constantly checking the position of the sun. Her mind raced with calculations and worries about being late, each moment feeling like sand slipping through her fingers. Until one day, everything changed. Through the eternal wisdom of the ages comes this truth. Time is not a rigid master, but a river that flows according to the current of your consciousness. When you release your grip on time's passing, you enter into harmony with its natural rhythm. The universal flow responds not to your demands, but to your surrender. Time, in its deepest essence, is consciousness in motion. When you exist in resistance, fighting against what is, time constricts and becomes your adversary. But when you release into acceptance, time expands to accommodate your highest good. This is not magical thinking. It is the metaphysical architecture of reality itself. Your attachment to specific timing creates an energetic friction that actually repels your desired outcomes. When you release this attachment, you enter a state of alignment where events naturally orchestrate themselves in perfect sequence. This is what the ancients called divine timing, the synchronized dance of intention and manifestation. An old sage once observed Flora sitting beneath a flowering tree, lost in the depths of new love. As she basked in that pure joy, she noticed something extraordinary. Her awareness of time had shifted. The hours seemed to expand and contract like breath itself. The clock on the temple wall appeared to move more slowly, as if matching the peaceful rhythm of her heart. This simple observation carries a profound truth. Your emotional state influences your experience of time. When you exist in alignment with universal flow, chronology becomes more fluid, more responsive to your state of being than to mechanical measurements. The message is clear. What appears as delay is often divine protection. What seems like waiting is frequently wisdom in action. The universe operates with an intelligence far beyond our limited perception of time. Practice for aligning with divine time. Move through this day with deliberate slowness. Each time you encounter what appears to be a delay, pause and whisper inwardly, "This is perfect timing." Feel how your resistance dissolves when you trust in the choreography of the universe. Let every moment that seems to hinder actually guide you toward your highest good. Chapter 24. The Paradox of Desire. In a sunlit courtyard, Otis sat surrounded by books on manifestation, his brow furrowed in concentration. Each morning he recited affirmations with desperate intensity. Each evening he scrutinized his life for signs of improvement, finding only disappointment. The more he grasped at joy, the more it seemed to slip through his fingers like morning mist. The ancient wisdom speaks of a truth often overlooked. Desire itself is not the obstacle, but the manner in which we hold it determines its fulfillment. When you clutch too tightly to what you wish to manifest, you unknowingly broadcast a frequency of absence. Your very striving declares to the universe, "I lack this thing I seek." The law of attraction responds not to what you want, but to what you are. When your wanting stems from a place of peaceful appreciation, it carries the vibration of abundance. When it springs from anxiety or need, it resonates with scarcity. This is why those who appear to care least often receive most. Their desires flow from a foundation of contentment. In the marketplace of a distant village, Otis discovered this truth through an unexpected teacher. While attempting to carry water home, he squeezed the clay vessel so firmly in his nervousness that tiny cracks appeared, letting precious drops escape. A wise merchant watching nearby called out, "Hold it gently, as if you already have more than you need." Following this guidance, Otis relaxed his grip. To his amazement, the vessel remained intact, and he arrived home with water aplenty. Through this simple act, he glimpsed the deeper principle at work in all manifestation. What we hold too desperately, we often lose. What we cradle with gentle appreciation tends to multiply. This tale mirrors your own journey with desire. When you squeeze your dreams with white-knuckled intensity, you create resistance in the very field meant to deliver them. But when you hold your intentions with light appreciation, as if they are already yours to enjoy, you align with the natural flow of abundance. Ancient practice. Take a clean sheet of paper and write down your heart's desire. Smile at these words as you would at a dear friend. Then, with deliberate grace, fold the paper and place it somewhere out of sight. Let it rest there, knowing the universe has received your intention. The art lies not in forgetting your desire exists, but in releasing your attachment to when and how it manifests. Trust that what is meant for you cannot miss you, and what you seek is also seeking you. Chapter 25. Reading the Language of Symbols. In the earliest hours before dawn, when the veil between worlds grows thin, Hattie noticed a cardinal tapping at her window. As she gazed at its crimson feathers, the same shade appeared in a flower along her path to work. That evening, the numbers 1111 caught her eye on the clock, then on a receipt, and finally on a license plate. What once seemed like chance now whispered of deeper meaning. You too have felt these gentle nudges from the universe, those moments when coincidence feels too precise to be accident. The world speaks not in words but in resonance, creating patterns that catch the corner of your awareness. These signs arise not from randomness but from the precise orchestration of universal intelligence. When you align with the field of infinite possibility, reality itself begins a dialogue with you. Numbers repeat not by chance but as cosmic markers. Animals appear not by accident but as messengers. Dreams weave not from chaos but from the tapestry of guidance seeking to reach you. Consider how Hattie learned to translate this sacred language. One night she dreamed of a blue door. The next morning, following an inexplicable urge to take a different route to work, she found herself before that very door. Behind it lay an opportunity she had been seeking for months. Each synchronicity serves as a letter in the universe's alphabet. The key lies not in forcing meaning, but in allowing understanding to arise naturally. When you trust the signs that appear, more begin to emerge. The world transforms into a living text, each moment pregnant with significance. The universe operates through resonance, like attracts like, symbol draws meaning, and awareness magnetizes revelation. Your role is not to decode, but to receive, to trust that when patterns emerge, they carry messages meant precisely for you. As you walk this path of awakening, the signs will multiply. What begins as coincidence reveals itself as conversation, a sacred dialogue between your consciousness and the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all of creation. Practice. When a sign appears, be it a number sequence, an animal messenger, or a recurring symbol, place your hand upon your heart and speak these words with quiet certainty. I understand. This simple acknowledgement opens the channel wider, allowing the universe's guidance to flow more clearly into your experience. Chapter 26. The Power Hidden in Silence. In a bustling marketplace, Bernard rushed between stalls, his mind crowded with tasks and worries. A merchant's spilled basket of oranges brought him to an unexpected halt. As he helped gather the scattered fruit, the forced pause awakened something within him, a moment of pure presence amidst the chaos. The universe speaks most clearly in stillness. When the mind's constant chatter subsides, a deeper intelligence emerges, not as thought, but as knowing. This knowing doesn't arrive through effort or seeking, but through receptivity. The field of infinite wisdom surrounds you always, yet its message becomes audible only when internal noise diminishes. Silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of total awareness. It is the space between thoughts where truth resides. In these gaps, the mechanics of reality reveal themselves not as concepts to be grasped, but as direct experience to be received. Consider how a lake's surface must be still to reflect the sky perfectly. Similarly, your consciousness must settle into quietude to mirror universal intelligence. This stillness is not passive. It is alive with potential, pregnant with possibility, vibrating with the pulse of creation itself. One autumn morning, Bernard walked his usual path through the woods. Rather than filling the space with his typical mental commentary, he chose complete silence. At first, his thoughts protested this unfamiliar quiet. But as he continued in wordless presence, something extraordinary occurred. The forest began to speak, not in language, but in pure vibration. The rustle of leaves became messages, the pattern of sunlight through branches revealed secrets, and the very air hummed with meaning. He realized that reality had been communicating all along. He had simply been too noisy to hear it. This experience shows that when we cease imposing our narrative on the world reveals its own story. The wisdom you seek doesn't require reaching, it requires receptivity. Truth doesn't need to be chased, it needs to be allowed. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably and set a timer for 10 minutes. Close your eyes and allow your attention to rest in simple awareness. Make no effort to clear your mind. Simply observe whatever arises without engaging with it. Let thoughts pass like clouds while maintaining your seat in pure presence. Before speaking, moving, or opening your eyes when the time concludes, wait for awareness itself to guide your next action. Practice this daily, understanding that each moment of silence creates space for universal wisdom to emerge. Chapter 27. Identity as Divine Technology. In the heart of an ancient city, Pearl stood before her reflection each morning, reciting the same limiting story. I'm just not lucky with money. Day after day, this narrative shaped her reality until a mysterious merchant gave her a peculiar mirror. Speak to it differently, he said, and watch what changes. The nature of consciousness follows precise metaphysical principles. Your self-image operates as a fundamental code, instructing the quantum field how to arrange itself around you. Each thought you hold about yourself acts as a command line in this living program, determining which possibilities materialize in your experience. When you grasp this truth, you understand that identity is not fixed. It is programmable. The stories you tell about yourself are not mere descriptions. They are active instructions to the universe. Each belief serves as an energetic algorithm, filtering and organizing reality according to its parameters. Think of your consciousness as a sophisticated operating system. Every assumption about who you are becomes a core function, running silently in the background, shaping your entire experience. Your self-talk is not mere internal dialogue. It is executable code writing itself into the fabric of your reality. Pearl began experimenting with this wisdom. Each morning she would stand before the mirror and input new instructions. I am magnetic to abundance, or prosperity flows to me naturally. At first, nothing seemed to change externally, but she noticed subtle shifts in her energy, how she carried herself, the opportunities she noticed, the decisions she made. One day, while organizing her bookshelf, Pearl discovered an old journal. As she leafed through its chapters, she realized her handwriting had changed, not just in style, but in the very energy it carried. The words she had written months ago felt like they belonged to a different operating system entirely. Her new programming had altered not just her future, but how she perceived her past. Looking at the transformed script, Pearl understood. Just as a computer responds to new software, consciousness responds to upgraded beliefs. Her identity was not a fixed program, but a dynamic code she could consciously rewrite. This truth illuminates the metaphysical mechanics behind personal transformation. You are not merely changing your thoughts. You are reprogramming the very interface through which you experience reality. Each new belief you install creates new pathways for manifestation. Here lies the sacred practice passed down through ages. Stand before your reflection at sunrise or sunset. Place your hand upon your heart and speak these words with the authority of one who commands reality itself. I am the version of myself who already knows. Let this declaration rewrite your cosmic code. Chapter 28. Collective Manifestation. Along the eastern hillside, Gordon gathered with his meditation circle each dawn. At first, their practice seemed ordinary, just 12 people sitting in silence. But as weeks passed, extraordinary patterns emerged. When one member manifested a blessing, others soon followed. Individual victories cascaded into group miracles, as if their shared attention wove an invisible web of possibility. The universe responds not just to individual consciousness, but to the magnificent force of minds united in harmony. When awareness joins in coherent patterns, the creative power multiplies exponentially. This occurs because consciousness itself operates on principles of resonance. Each focused mind amplifies the others, creating waves of transformative energy that far exceed the sum of their parts. A humble truth rests at the heart of manifestation. While you possess immense creative power alone, that power magnifies in geometric progression when merged with aligned consciousness. This is why ancient traditions emphasized collective prayer and meditation. They understood that unified focus acts as a lens, concentrating the light of divine intention into piercing clarity. In a small village by the sea, Gordon discovered this principle anew. One evening, as storm clouds threatened the fishing fleet, he and 3 friends gathered in the harbor chapel. Without discussion, they began to sing, first one voice, then another, joining in pure harmony. As their voices merged, the chapel windows began to shimmer with an ethereal light. The fishermen later reported that the threatening clouds had parted directly above their boats, leaving them safe passage home. This experience reveals an essential truth. When hearts and minds synchronize in shared intention, the fabric of reality responds with heightened receptivity. The vibration of unified consciousness creates a field so powerful it can literally part clouds, heal bodies, and reshape circumstances. Just as many small flames join to create a bonfire's transformative heat, your consciousness gains extraordinary power when merged with others in harmony. This is not mere metaphor, it is practical metaphysics at work. Ancient practice of unified light. Find a quiet moment and close your eyes. Visualize humanity as countless points of light, each one glowing with divine potential. See these lights slowly brightening, connecting, forming networks of radiant energy across the earth. Allow yourself to feel your own light naturally joining this symphony of consciousness. No effort needed. Simply permit yourself to be part of this unified field of awakening awareness. Maintain this vision for several minutes, knowing that your participation strengthens the whole. Let the sensation of connected luminosity fill you completely. Chapter 29. The Eternal Present. In a quiet garden, Vera sat among withered roses, her mind tangled in thorny memories. Each morning she would trace the same worn paths of regret, wondering how past choices had led her here. The weight of yesterday's decisions pressed heavily upon her shoulders, until one crystalline moment changed everything. A butterfly landed on a nearby bloom, its wings pulsing with present life. In that instant, Vera witnessed how nature knew nothing of past or future. It simply was. The butterfly existed purely in its moment of being, complete and perfect in its nowness. The truth unfolds with elegant simplicity. All creation springs from the eternal present. The past exists only as memory, the future as imagination. But power flows exclusively through the gateway of now. When you stand fully in this moment, you access the singular point where all manifestation occurs. The present is not merely a fleeting instant between past and future. It is the foundational reality from which all experience emerges. Your creative force diminishes when scattered across time's illusion. Regret pulls energy backward, while anxiety pushes it forward, leaving little power for actual manifestation. But when you gather yourself fully into now, you stand at the control panel of creation itself. Consider how a weaver works. She cannot weave yesterday's thread or tomorrow's pattern. Only the thread passing through her hands in this moment creates the tapestry. Similarly, your consciousness can only shape reality at its current point of contact with existence. Along a sunlit path, Vera discovered this truth more deeply. She had spent years trying to catch sunlight, running after its golden promise, reaching for future brightness. Exhausted from the chase, she finally stopped. Standing perfectly still, she realized the light had always been there, waiting for her to simply be present with it. As she stood motionless, something extraordinary happened. She began to shine from within, becoming the very radiance she had sought. This parable holds the key to manifestation mastery. When you cease chasing what you desire across time's landscape and instead fully inhabit your present moment, you become the source of what you seek. The light you pursue is not ahead of you. It emanates from your present awareness. The universe knows only now. When you align with this truth, you tap into creation's pure potential. Each moment arrives fresh, unburdened by history, pregnant with possibility. Your power to shape reality exists solely in this eternal present point. Sacred practice. As the hours pass today, pause at each hour's turning. Draw a conscious breath and whisper with conviction. Now is my creation point. Let this simple ritual anchor you in the present moment, where all manifestation begins. Feel how each now arrives as a fresh canvas, awaiting the touch of your conscious awareness. Chapter 30. The Return of the Magician. In a sunlit courtyard, Walter sat watching leaves dance in the breeze. Once he would have hurried past such a scene, too consumed by his search for life's deeper mysteries. But now something had shifted. The leaves weren't merely moving. They were speaking an ancient language he had somehow always known but forgotten. You see, mastery reveals itself not in dramatic displays of power, but in the quiet recognition that everything already contains divine perfection. The greatest mysteries don't hide in secret manuscripts or arcane rituals. They shine openly in each dewdrop, whisper in every breath of wind. True understanding feels remarkably ordinary because it returns you to your natural state of being. When you align with universal law, miracles become as normal as sunrise. The extraordinary transforms into the everyday, not because it diminishes, but because you expand to embrace its constant presence. Power masks itself as peace, because genuine strength requires no announcement. It simply is. A wise woman once tended her garden in the mountains. Each morning she would bow to her plants and they would bow back in the wind. Visitors traveled far to learn her secrets, expecting complex teachings. But they found her simply smiling, watering her flowers, humming with the bees. When asked about her method, she would laugh and say, "What method? I just remember to forget what I think I know, and then everything teaches me." This story mirrors your own journey. Like the wise woman, you will discover that awakening doesn't culminate in supernatural abilities or esoteric knowledge. Instead, it ends where it began, in the simple recognition that life itself is the miracle you sought. The magic was never in the seeking, but in the seeing. Walter closed his leather-bound journal, fingers trailing over its worn cover. For years, he had filled its chapters with techniques, affirmations, and exercises. But now he understood. The real spell was in finally recognizing what had always been true. The journal wasn't a collection of secrets. It was a map leading back to natural wisdom, sacred practice. As daylight fades, find a quiet moment. Let your gaze rest softly on any ordinary object, a cup, a leaf, a shadow on the wall. Smile, not at the thing itself, but at the profound recognition that you and it are expressions of the same infinite consciousness. Feel the artificial boundary between observer and observed dissolve into simple oneness. This isn't a ritual to perform, but a remembrance of what is eternally true. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. The teachings whispered through ages now stand revealed, not as esoteric secrets, but as natural laws that have always governed the dance between thought and manifestation. What was once deemed forbidden knowledge emerges as the simple truth of your own creative nature. You are the living bridge between the formless and the formed. Each thought you hold resonates through the fabric of existence. Each feeling sends ripples through the quantum field. The power you seek has never been external. It flows through you as naturally as breath. The universe responds not to complexity, but to clarity. Your consciousness is the instrument through which infinite possibility collapses into experience. This is not mysticism, but mechanics, not supernatural, but supremely natural. The law of attraction, the principle of resonance, the mathematics of manifestation, these were never truly banned, only forgotten. They operate with or without your awareness, but conscious participation amplifies their power. Your attention is the focusing lens, your emotion, the amplifying force. As you integrate these principles, let your practice remain gentle. Forced will creates resistance. Relaxed intention allows flow. Trust that the universe understands your heart's language better than your mind's demands. You need not shout your intentions to the cosmos. It hears your quietest certainty. You need not strain to manifest. Alignment creates naturally. You need not wrestle with reality. Cooperation yields greater results than control. Remember, every thought is a seed, every feeling a current, every belief a blueprint. The universe's response is automatic, impersonal, and precise. You are always manifesting. The only question is whether you do so consciously or unconsciously. The reality you experience tomorrow is being shaped by the vibration you hold today. Live accordingly, with wisdom and wonder combined.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.